Hello, and welcome to my channel. My name is Jonathan Cohn, and today I have my book review of the book Tress of the Emerald Sea, the first secret project from Brandon Sanderson. Yes, I know, I'm late to the party. This book came out originally January 1st in its ebook format, an audiobook format, and then was released through the Kickstarter stuff in physical copies. I think it was like February. I think February was when it finally got out. But I did not participate in the Kickstarter for a couple of reasons. One, the price of the hardcovers were just too expensive for me. Like, I spent a lot of money on books, but it was just too expensive for the hardcovers. And I don't do ebooks or audiobooks, or at least I do like one or two audiobooks a year. That's it. And they're only for rereads, books I've already read before. So I was not going to get the ebook or audiobook, which meant I needed to wait for the physical copy to come from Tor, which is Brandon Sanderson's usual publisher for the Cosmere. So I waited. And I finally got it. So I got this on release day, although I had other books that released that day, so I read those first. But I got this book, and I'm very excited to talk about it. Here's the way this review is going to go. I'm going to spend like the majority of the review talking non-spoilers. So you don't worry. For the most of the part of the review, there will be spoilers. And then I'll give you a big signal, and I'll really let you know spoilers are coming, and then I'll have in the timestamps when the spoilers are done talking, and I'll wrap up the video. But really, you'll get the majority of my thoughts in the spoiler-free section at the beginning. So let's first talk about the book. This book, the premise of the book is this young girl, this peasant girl, Tress, lives on this island with her family and with all the other people on the island. And the man that she loves, who is really a nobleman, he basically gets captured by this sorceress on another island. And Tress has to go and rescue him. And that's the premise of the book. And she basically joins up with pirates in order to do so. This book was inspired by The Princess Bride, and you can obviously see the connections. For one, the tone of this book is hilarious. It's a very humorous book, very satirical in many ways. In fact, there's many points where this book kind of makes fun of the tropes of fairy tales. So in that way, it is very much like the Princess Bride. Also, the idea of the loved one getting captured and the other one going after them, and at the same time, someone joining pirates. You know, there's obvious Princess Bride connections, but it's not a ripoff. It is not a ripoff of the Princess Bride. It is an original story. And it's just, the word I use to describe this book is delightful. It's so delightful. It's so refreshing. It's a nice short book. It's only 367 pages. I was able to read it in 2 days. I read a Brandon Sanderson book in only 2 days. What? I know. His books are typically so long, but it's a really short book. It's a really fast read. It's split up into nice 6 pretty quick sections that you can read, and every section was delightful. There was never a section I was like, can we just get on with the storyline? Because I was enjoying the process. Journey before destination. I was having a blast with it. The character of Tress, she has a few characteristics that make her unique, but overall, she's not a super defined character in her personality, but that's okay because it's mostly about how she reacts to the people around her. The people around her are wacky and crazy, and she's like the only normal person there. So in that sense, it's okay that you have a cipher, which is why when people are like, the main character doesn't have, Harry Potter doesn't have enough personality. Well, that's fine because everyone else in Harry Potter has plenty of personality, so it's fine with me. And same here. And I thought that all of the side characters, with particular specific ones, were just hilarious. Huck the rat was so much fun. That was a good way to have a talking rat. There was also Ulam, who was very fun to read about. And then there were a few others that I won't give at the moment, but I'll talk about the spoilers later on. But they were just some delightful characters to read about. And so the narrator of this book I'll talk about in the spoiler section more, but the narrator of this book was hilarious and broke the fourth wall in some funny ways. That was very, very entertaining. And I will say that there are some great twists in this book. stay away from like spoiler sites, because this book, the twists are well worth it. And it's not just like a single twist. There are several twists throughout the book that just make you go, ooh, that's so cleverly done. It was so artistically done. So overall, I loved the book. I gave it a 9.2 out of 10. Really midway up the Cosmere. It's not the top tier Cosmere. It's not the bottom, and it's not in the middle. It's like mid-top, if that makes sense. I'll do an updated ranking soon, and I'll talk about that. But so that's my spoiler-free thoughts on the book. I'm going to really briefly, so if you have not read the book, this is your warning. Spoilers are coming. And I'll do that. I'll let you know in the timestamps when I'm doing my conclusion. But you know my conclusion as normal. With the spoilers, first of all, the way that Tress. All right, so you ready? The way that Tress tricks the dragon into taking Cross instead of her, I thought was brilliant. I thought that was brilliantly done. And the way that she also convinces Cross to take them to the dragon, to the Crimson Sea, but it's really Cross's plan the whole time, but she kind of knows that, but yet plays into it anyway. That was all superbly written. Also, the narrator being Hoyd, perfect casting for the narrator. He was hilarious to read about. Although he was not the funniest character, I thought for sure Hoyd's going to be the funniest character because he's the narrator, he's got a lot of time, and also he's Hoyd. He's going to be hilarious, which he was, but he wasn't the most hilarious. That was another character I'll talk about in a second. But I thought that his being the narrator worked perfectly for the story. It tied in the Cosmere real nicely. Then also, I want to talk about Ulam. Now, Ulam was the funniest character in this book, and he doesn't have as much time as Hoyd, but Ulam was the funniest. Oh my, was Ulam hilarious. And when I was reading about it, they describe Ulam as looking kind of undead, as looking like a zombie. And when I was reading that, I was like, oh my goodness, is he an Elantrian? Is he an Elantrian? And then I kept reading, and they never mentioned anything about anything with Elantris. So I was like, that doesn't seem to connect as much. So that was a little bit disappointing. But then they reveal that he's a Khandra, and that I thought was interesting from Mistborn. Maybe other people, it'll work better for them. I personally love Elantris more than I love Mistborn, so I would have preferred him being an Elantrian. That's like, because he talks about how he's, how he kind of can lose body parts and it's okay, and he talks about how he's kind of like his heart's not exactly beating, and just the way he was describing himself, I was like, yeah, he's an Elantrian, and no, he's not an Elantrian. So that was a bit disappointing to me, but it's okay. That didn't take away from the book. Also, when they get to the sorceress at the end, and Tress is trying to get back Charlie, and Charlie's just ready to come back. What I thought was going to happen, and I was afraid of it was going to happen, was Charlie's going to come back and she's going to welcome him with open arms, and then she's going to be like, well, I'm changed, so therefore I can't be with Charlie anymore. And she's like, she rescues him, which is good, but now she doesn't love him anymore. Or it turns out, she wants to be by herself or something like that. I thought that's where they were going. And I was like, no, Sanderson, don't do that. Don't do that to me. That is a modern thing. A lot of the modern stories do that I hate. I want the characters to be happy and together. I do not want them to be this, oh, well, actually, I grew so much on the journey, so I don't need to be with you anymore. It's like, no, the whole reason you went on the journey was to rescue your loved one. So there's that. But then that's not what happened. And then they reveal that's not actually Charlie. And I was like, okay. Whew. And then they're like, no, wait, he's really the rat. And I was like, ooh, that's clever. And then they say, oh, he was Charlie. A nickname for Charlie is Chuck. But he couldn't say Chuck, so he said Huck. And I was like, oh, that's brilliant. That's brilliant. Oh, that was, I loved that. And then you have, so those are my, and then they lived happily ever after, which was really sweet. So those are my spoiler thoughts on it. So if you're watching, spoilers are done. So overall, I really enjoyed this book. Really enjoyed it. I think that the secret projects are going to be delightful to continue reading throughout the year. I'm still kind of disappointed that Sanderson basically did these instead of doing Stormlight, which he says these didn't interfere with him writing Stormlight. But if he hadn't written these and had in that time frame written Stormlight, he would have finished Stormlight already and it would be coming out in 2023. So he could have been writing Stormlight. But anyway, I digress. This is still a delightful book. And I was feeling for a long time that my two favorite books in the Cosmere were the standalones, Elantris and Mistborn. And, Elantris and Warbreaker, I should say. And I was worried that Brandon was going to steer away from the standalones because they don't sell as many copies. I was afraid of that. But the fact that he's able to do this, and this has had tremendous reception. You know, there's been something like 24,000 reviews and ratings on Goodreads, and only like 28 of them were 1 stars. Like, that's insanely low. Like, this book is insanely well reviewed and has, I think, like a 4.4 or something like that on Goodreads. So the audiences are loving this so far. And so I hope that that the other Secret Projects are good. The Secret Project 2 just came out, although it's not getting the rave reviews that Secret Project 1. But still, I'm excited about Secret Project 2 and 3 and 4. And hopefully the Cosmere will continue to do standalones like this. So if you've read Tress of the Emerald Sea, what did you think of it? Leave your thoughts and comments down below. If you want to avoid spoilers, potentially avoid the comment section because I'm afraid that people might leave comments. So read the comment section at your own risk. But what did you think of Tress of the Emerald Sea? What did you think of the spoilers I mentioned? Leave all those in the comments section down below. And until next time, I'm Jonathan, and thank you for watching.